Hi, I'm your Gemini friend. Okay, so this video is going to be about Chiron in Sagittarius or in the 9th house. This one is fascinating to me. So before I get into it, what Chiron represents, I have a video in the description that goes much more in depth into Chiron energy. But ultimately, it is the wounded healer. This is a wound that we suffer from in order to be able to teach and help and heal others. And this one in particular really points to being a teacher and to reaching people in a very deep way. But just the frustration of this one, it seems like it's so complex, but it's actually so simple that I feel like most likely those with this energy are overcomplicating it. So whether you have your Chiron in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, the difference is going to be that Chiron in Sagittarius is expressing itself through the embodiment of Sagittarius energy, like its personality. This is the expression of your Chiron. If you have it in the 9th house, this is in the area of life that is dealing with 9th house things, which is essentially our philosophy, our belief system, the meaning of life to us. But I'll get into that throughout the video. I do offer natal chart readings and synastry readings if you're interested in a personal reading from me, but for some reason this energy gets me really excited. I love Jupiter. I love the 9th house. My moon is in the 9th house and it's very familiar for me, but what this Chiron energy represents is having a difficulty in essentially validating your own belief system, your own philosophy, and a major struggle with connecting to that, connecting to the soul, the higher self, your own internal sense of guidance. Second guessing is massive here. And interestingly enough, we can use the opposite sign of Sagittarius and house of the 9th, Gemini and the 3rd, to put more of a focus on the journey rather than the destination. But first, let's go over what Sagittarius and the 9th house represent, this Jupiter energy. The nature of Jupiter is to be expansive, to go outside of the self, to leave the comfort zone and look at things that we are not familiar with. Jupiter is endlessly fascinated by everything outside of the self. So this is associated with travel, with an interest in other cultures, and with higher learning in general. This is a very well-educated placement typically, because you want to know more, you want to understand. There's such a deep desire to understand the purpose of everything, the meaning of life, and the rules. But the biggest thing to come to understand is that you essentially make your own rules. It can feel like there are guidelines that you're not aware of, that you haven't been taught. And you are likely very curious and likely mystical, interested in philosophy and religion, in belief systems, other cultures from a very young age. This is like an endless quest for answers. So there's a strong curiosity here and a lot of generosity and love and a desire to understand things from the perspectives of other people. But the wounding it's usually caused by some form of restrictive set of rules or belief system or philosophy put on you at a young age, or somehow having your own internal guidance not aligning with those of your authority figures. This can happen in so many different ways. It can be very subtle, or it can be very intensely, like being born in a very religious, strict family and having to follow their rules when you don't feel it's really right for you. This can really mix up signals and external information versus internal information and create a situation where you're not listening to your own internal guidance because it hasn't been affirmed or validated by those who were in authority, who had power over you. But what I really love about Sagittarius and 9th house energy when it's with Chiron is because Chiron is a centaur. This energy of the centaur is all about merging the human and the animal, the primal survival parts of us, where we're on Earth, we're trying to live, we're trying to survive, and where we're here. We don't really have a choice. We're just born, and we have all of these instincts where we're just trying to continue to live. Everybody has some degree of survival instinct, and it's quite simple. But then we have the human side of us that wants to understand why. What's the purpose? What am I doing here? What am I here for? And what comes with this placement is a feeling that you are meant for more, and you are. You are literally representing that connection to a higher purpose and the search for that purpose. But the frustration comes from looking for it outside of yourself. This placement can have such a difficulty with connecting to that soul part of you, the you that is beyond this human body. And you could be incredible at divination, at more scientifically, like putting pieces together to make things make sense. Whether you are more spiritually minded or more scientifically minded or a blend of the two, your ability to create wisdom from experience is so innate. It's completely natural to you. It comes so naturally that you probably don't realize that it doesn't come as naturally to most people. This is why you are actually an authority in this area, but the feeling of this Chiron pain can cause you to feel like you're the only one who doesn't know. So where the Gemini and third house energy comes in to help balance this is through the curiosity and the understanding of duality and the way that two things can exist at once. What Gemini is really good at is understanding that one person can have a viewpoint and another person can have an entirely different viewpoint. And to each person, that's completely valid. That is their worldview. But Sagittarius, opposite that, can have a very difficult time allowing both to be true at the same time, because you want rules. You want to understand, no, but what's the true answer? What is the truth? But the answer is that everybody has their own truth, and you have your own truth, and your truth is the truth. Just consider everybody is living their life from their perspective, and they have their experiences, and their experiences inform their worldview. So somebody living on the other side of the world, living a completely different lifestyle, having completely different relationships and experiences, they're going to see things differently from you. But does that make them wrong? And does them being right make you wrong? No, that's the whole point of this. And that rigidity that can come from having Chiron in this energy, that's what you want to break free from. There can be a lot of judgment or a desire to adhere to a strict rule set and to also enforce that on other people around you. You could on the other side be too lenient and not stand up for your own beliefs. It can go to either extreme, but it's very important that you examine your relationship with your own belief system. And you can do this very literally by writing it down, like, what do I believe? What are my core beliefs? What are the things that are non-negotiable in my life? And really establishing those core values can help you to not second guess yourself, to not overthink it, to not get to the point where you're like, okay, I know what I believe. This is true to me. This has always been true to me. But what if I'm wrong? That what if I'm wrong, you need to try to find a way to eliminate what if I'm wrong when it comes to things that you can't be wrong about. These are your beliefs. And whether or not you believe something, where Gemini comes in again, Gemini is very versatile, very adaptable, and really good at changing its mind. Of course, this can lead people to believe that the energy is two-faced, or that it changes things up based on who it's talking to, which, like, sort of, but it's more that Gemini is so curious, it wants to understand things from different perspectives, and if it changes, that's fine. Nothing is meant to stay the same. It's not meant to stay stagnant. And just think of the way that collectively our belief systems have changed. Hundreds of years ago, we were doing things that we would never do now. Change is good. Change is progression, and this is the direction that we're meant to be going in. And you are meant to be a leader in this by having a very clear and firm idea of what your beliefs are, because you're a guide. You're the sort of person that other people can look to when they need answers. But you have to first have that firm understanding of what the answers are. And that all boils down to trusting your intuition and connecting to it in the first place. But the thing is that you are actually connected. It's more about trusting the signal. And one thing that you can do to help with this is to go back through your memories and find times when your intuition was right. Affirm those times to yourself. And of course, your intuition isn't going to be right every single time. And consider that sometimes when you think you were wrong, you were just seeing one side of the full picture. It's very important to focus on strengthening the connection rather than critiquing yourself in that way. Like, oh, but I was wrong about this. What that does is it creates disbelief. It creates a disconnection there. But think of it as like if you were teaching a child, what would be the best tactic? To affirm when they're right, or to be like, no, that's wrong every time they're wrong? That doesn't help with their sense of confidence. And you want to help build your sense of confidence when it comes to developing and trusting your ability to just listen to your gut feelings about things. Because like I said, you are a natural authority in this area and you were born with this connection, but it's usually early life circumstances that kind of sever it. So it needs to be redeveloped, reattached. And another thing that you can do that's very freeing, Jupiter is all about freedom. Your own sense of freedom and everyone else's sense of freedom. Freedom to be themselves, freedom to see the world in their own way. So giving yourself permission to not know the answer, to be wrong, that's very freeing. You're allowed to be wrong. It's truly not the end of the world, but it can feel like it is because there's so much weight put on your ability to be a guide and to be a teacher. You want to know the answer, so you're not giving false information. But unless you're confident in your message, you're not going to have students. People aren't going to trust that what you're saying is the truth if you don't trust it yourself. But it almost always is. And another thing that can come from insecure Jupiter influence is that feeling of travel and that desire to go outside oneself. When it's wounded, it can feel like if you're getting too far from home, it's scary or it's wrong or you're not allowed. And when I say too far from home, it doesn't have to be your physical home. It can be your family beliefs, what you were taught. It can be scary to go outside of that. And depending on your own individual chart, of course, everyone has totally different energetic makeups. So how this is happening in your life is going to be totally unique to you, but that's the beauty of it. So look at your relationship with home and family and with the belief system that you were taught. Or even if you were like not taught anything at all and feel like you have no guidance, like you're totally lost. That's normal with this placement, to feel completely lost. But it's up to you to find your way. And this is one of those things where it is so huge to focus on the journey, not the destination. Because when it comes to Chiron, Chiron is all about the process. Sagittarius and Jupiter, 9th house energy, is about the quest. So these are very similar, that centaur. I mean, there have been beliefs that Sagittarius is the sign that Chiron is most represented by. It is Virgo, but because Sagittarius and 9th house ideas have so much to do with teaching and with understanding the meaning, there is a very strong similarity to what Chiron represents, and they go together very smoothly. And a part of that is the way that Sagittarius and the 9th house are all about our experiences, and Chiron is a placement where we are literally forced to learn from experiences. We can only grow through experience, through actively putting ourselves in the middle of it and seeing how we handle it, seeing what happens. This is how we create wisdom. And since this is such a natural process for you, it's important to trust the wisdom that comes to you in the way that it comes to you, because we are all completely unique. We all have, like I said, our individual energetic makeup that we see in our chart. And in that way, your unique experience is incredibly important for other people too, because your ability to understand what it means, what you've been through means because of this fascination with finding the meaning. This is why you're such a natural teacher, because you're always searching for that. And Jupiter is so optimistic. It's the lucky planet. This is fortune and opportunity. And I believe that so much of that just comes from the optimism, from looking at the silver lining, and from being like, okay, well, that sucked, but what did I learn? How am I different now? How have I changed? How have I gotten stronger? That resilience that comes from Jupiter's influence is why it's lucky, because it knows how to always be looking up. And it can attract things because it knows that it deserves those things. It knows that they exist. That endless optimism that other people could think is silly, don't let them drag you down into their cynicism, okay? Dream big for yourself. With the way that the houses are set up and the way that I was explaining the centaur and the blending of the animal and the human, I think of the zodiac progression with houses 7 through 12. These are the external houses. The first 6 houses deal with kind of our own relationship with ourself and existing. But starting with the 7th house, our relationships, and then moving into the 8th house and Scorpio, that represents vulnerability and intimacy within relationships, and also that survival and coming to understand our animal instincts and our sense of survival, but amongst other people and within society. And then after that, Sagittarius in the 9th house, we're making meaning out of it. We're coming to understand the silver lining of what we have experienced. And then after that, that's why we have the 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're dealing with our career, our higher purpose within society, and like the connection to everything. We need to find our purpose and our understanding of the way things work and the meaning of life in order to even have those goals become aligned with us, in order to know what it is that we're truly wanting to work for. We have to establish a belief system first. We have to get firm in our values, in our meaning, our own personal meaning, because your goals are personal and what you're working for and towards is personal, and it's very specific to you. So looking outside for answers or expecting someone else to tell you whether you're right or wrong can never happen. You're the only one who can know. And you're completely set up to do this with your natural sense of curiosity and your natural desire to explore and to have those experiences that inform your belief system. This one feels like a too good to be true sort of energy, where it's like, oh, I'm not wrong. I actually can trust how I feel and what I want to be true. If there's something that you have always believed or loved or felt deeply within you, but you're like, it's probably too good to be true. I've been told that this isn't true. I've been told that this is wrong. If it's something that you love, something that remains true to you, and something that feels like it's a core part of you, even if everyone in the entire world, every single person tells you, no, you're wrong, that's just their belief system. For you, that thing is true. I don't know what it is. It could be anything. It could be your belief of what you can do, what you're capable of. If everyone tells you that you're not, but it feels like, but this is who I am, you're right. We don't have these deep feelings and connections to concepts and ideas and desires for no reason. And that's where so much of the frustration and pain with this placement can come from, because it's like, you know your truth, but why aren't other people affirming it? Why is everyone telling me that I'm wrong? That's a part of this. This is a part of the lesson, is reclaiming your own beliefs, your own perspective, and allowing it to be affirmed by you and only you. By living in your truth and letting it be true, then you get the validation. Then you get the affirmation from outside of you. People are like, oh, they always said that, but I was like, that's not gonna work. But then you do it and they're like, okay. It truly, this is like a simple one. It's simple, but it's not easy. You need to embody your belief system. That's how you connect with your soul and who you truly are. by finding those things that represent what you truly want to be and become them. You're a teacher, you're a pioneer. You can be the first one to do something. You can be the first to be or to believe. It's up to you, but you have to self-validate. That's the hard part, to do what feels right to you despite what's going on externally. But the answers are internal. Your sense of who you are and what you want to do is internal, and you have to create it. And it's difficult, but you can. And you owe it to yourself because you are a unique person with unique desires, and you need to play your part within society so that we can all be in our own energies wholly and completely and align with who we truly are. And the last thing that I want to really talk about with this is a fascinating concept from in the book that I've been studying for this Chiron series, that I'll have the information in the description on it. But one thing that she was talking about that is awesome with this particular Chiron placement is that if you look at the Sabian symbol for the exact degree of your ascendant, the sign and degree that your ascendant is in, find that Sabian symbol and really go deep into it. Try to understand it, because this, according to Barbara Hand Clow, is representative of your soul. And I know that I definitely resonate with mine, and the people that I've done this experiment on are also resonating with it. So if you don't know what Sabian symbols are, just to put it very simply, all 360 degrees of the zodiac have been given like a symbol or an image or a metaphor to represent that exact degree of energy. There's a lot more information on it, and the people involved with creating this. Actually, I want to find the name of the psychic who came up with these. I'll put her name on the screen. But this just in particular has been very enlightening for me. So just check out the Sabian symbol for the exact degree that your ascendant is at, and see if you resonate with that. See what it means for you on a very deep level. And don't necessarily expect it to be something positive or feel good, because mine certainly isn't, but it makes sense, and it can show a lesson that we need to learn, or like themes throughout our life. It can be similarly frustrating to this energy, but exploring that and figuring out what it really means to you, it's something that I think can help. And I feel like I've said all that I can say on this one. It's probably going to be shorter than some of the past ones, but I mean, I don't have any specific time that I'm aiming for with these. I just want to get the message out and see what comes out of my mouth. So let it be simple and let your truth be your truth. It's all about you. So let it be as good as it possibly can. This is Sagittarius, it's Jupiter. Be optimistic and learn and be the teacher that you're meant to be. In any way, we can just teach by existing within our own energy. So thank you so much. I hope that this makes sense and resonates with you. Please let me know your experiences, anything that you want to tell me. And thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate every single one of you. I love you. Bye.